You may have heard that a company is creating humanoid robots to carry pregnancies, and I want to tell you this just isn't true. I think journalism has actually gotten worse, kind of like that story about a company that was offering to sort out babies for intelligence. There's no evidence for it. I have been hearing about this for years, and every once in a while the story pops up again, robots carrying pregnancies. Now, there are artificial wombs, that is true, and it's getting better. A severely premature lamb was actually incubated to the point where it could be safely born. But this does not work from the beginning of pregnancy. Yes, you do have to have an ECMO system, which is normally very hard on babies. That's extracorporeal oxygenation, but your heart is just not working, so you have kind of an external heart. Doing this through the umbilical cord actually helps a lot, but that does have to have an umbilical cord. We cannot carry a pregnancy with a robot from the implantation period. It just doesn't happen. Also, why would it even want a humanoid version? It doesn't make sense. You need to have a fairly large system to carry this out. Not to mention there's a lot of hormonal stuff that happens between mother and baby as they develop. The dosing of testosterone, for example, is necessary to have a male offspring, and lots of stuff can go wrong, like having gestational diabetes that can result in very large babies with very broad shoulders. The slightest change in hormone regulation can have some pretty big effects down the line. Do remember that even today, I am in fact a biological robot. We don't really have the capability to take, say, an unconscious person, someone who's in a coma, and carry out a healthy pregnancy to begin with. And theoretically, I have all of the technology that would be required to be a, vessel for such a thing. We just can't do it. Maybe one day, but not now, and don't believe everything you read. And I have seen some pretty big news outlets carrying this story, and it seems to just be something that came out, and then every subsequent news outlet just covered the original story. There are no papers that would say that this is possible. Nothing has been published. And yeah, it might be a concept, but I don't even think it's that much. As far as I can tell, there is no research group that is trying to accomplish this. And I see this stuff happen all the time, and people tag me in it. Like when that company had claimed that they had made these little humanoid robots with brain organoids. Now, people have made robots with brain organoids, but that particular story wasn't true. So tell me this. Why does this happen? Why do news outlets carry these ridiculous stories that have no evidence for them, and no one seems to investigate them at all? Like this one. It took me an afternoon as not a journalist to dig into this and find out that they had no infrastructure, that they were registered through a shell company. And sure, maybe they did in fact do a video call and offer these services to screen embryos, but there's no evidence that they're actually doing it. Not to mention the name specifically, Heliospect, seems to be delinquent on their taxes, too. I mean, shouldn't that have appeared in some of these articles? I shouldn't be the person to figure out something's wrong when major news networks are reporting on it. I am not a reporter. I'm a scientist who likes to make cool videos. It seems like the due diligence is just not there. But my question is, has it just never been there? As I just started noticing it now that I'm a grown-up and I start actually looking into the news stories that I bring you, I can at least tell you I don't just trust the news. Once I read one of these, I dig in to see, is it real? What papers have been published about it? Who are the people that are associated with said paper? And are they legitimate scientists? Are the papers that have been published from paper mills and not respected journals? And even if they have been published in respected journals, have there been updates? Have they been retracted? Because it seems like the news just doesn't do that. So yeah, maybe somebody decided to plan to try it, but I can see no evidence that it is possible with their current technology unless there is a big paper across the horizon. But that generally isn't how science works. It's small increments, and a humanoid robot is just purposeless versus any other style of robot. In fact, it's probably a lot worse. Also, don't even believe all the science papers you read. Do your due diligence and don't trust the news to give you correct information, which sucks, but it is what it is. The world we live in.